Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the land of the Vikings. I thought it'd be a little bit fun to test out some of the resource side of things. So I'm curious in this game if if this smaller rock here has less resources than this bigger rock. Does this bigger tree have more resources than the smaller tree? I'm curious about some of that. So I want to test it out. So we're going to give it a go. So I've just got a save. You can see no resources. So I'm just going to keep coming back into the save so everything's the same. And then we're going to test it out each time. I'm going to speed up so you don't have to just sit here and watch people move around. I'm going to speed the video up every time to come back and find out where we ended up. So let's get started with this large rock and see where we go. All right, so we completely got all of those rocks for our resources and we ended up with 40. So now I'm gonna come back into this and I'm gonna try this rock right here and just see, is each individual rock 40 or does the different sizes of the rocks matter? Let's find out. Okay, so we're gonna try to get this side rock here and we'll get after it and see if we end up with 40 just like previously. Okay, so we finished this rock. We're at 40, so it apparently each one's just 40. So if you see a rock out there, it's automatically 40 every time. I'm going to assume that's what's going to happen with the trees, but we're still going to try it out. So here we go. We'll, since we have none, we'll just do it from this point, and we'll cut this tree down. So apparently that tree was only 2 wood, which is very interesting. So let's see if we just add the smaller one, if it's also 2. Does look like each rock is worth 40 and each tree is worth 2. I do want to try out one other resource that is normal, and I want to try out the farm. So I'm going to load into another game that already has some farms, and I want to test some of that out as well. All right, let's test out some of these farms. I want to do wheat first. So my thought process here is we'll do a wheat farm here, and then I want to put a scarecrow in it and see if it stays the same because it's supposed to enhance the yield. And then I want to compare the 2 scarecrows against fields against each other to see if a different field would produce a different yield. And then I want to go to barley and just see if it's the same as wheat. So I kind of, that's the comparisons that I'm doing here. And we'll see where we end up. I'm going to go as many farmers as I can. I don't want anybody milling because that'll throw off the numbers. And let's get after it. Okay, let's see how many we have here. We have 202 wheat. All right, so I'm going to load back in, and we will see what it looks like with a scarecrow. Okay, first off, we need to do our scarecrow. Put him right there in the middle of the field. Now we'll do wheat again. I do notice that on these it does say high yield on both of these, so I'm guessing that has to do with the field, that it's high. So there may be places where it's not as high. That's something to pay attention to. But we'll do this again. Go up to 20 farmers. And get rid of our millers. And away we go. All right, moment of truth. Let's see what the yield is. It is 202. So the exact same. Am I missing something with the decoration? Increases the yield of the fields. I don't know. Because it didn't increase our yield. It was the same amount in the same field, in the same load in at the same time in the same season. Like all the conditions were the same, but it didn't increase the yield. Okay. If I'm missing something, or if you're catching something, maybe I'm just overlooking, feel free to comment so that we can catch this. But I don't see where the scarecrows did anything. Or at least this scarecrow. I don't think it did anything. So I'm going to load back in and try this field. So we're comparing it to 202. And we'll see what the yield is with this one. All right, same one. Now we're going to do this field. We got wheat. We're going to go 20 farmers. We're going to plant. We're going to get rid of the millers. Here we go. Well, anybody want to guess? I'm going to guess 202 since it happened at the other field and everything else has stayed pretty consistent. So we'll see here. 200. 0. Well, I'm going to forward it just a little bit to make sure there's not somebody that's still got something here. Okay, so there is different yields for different fields. Was not trying to rhyme there, but I did rhyme. So different yields for different fields, and this had a scarecrow in it too, and it still was less than this one without a scarecrow, and technically this one with a scarecrow. I'm gonna let you know, I've done this about 6 times. This has always been 202 with a scarecrow or without a scarecrow. This has always been less. Sometimes it's been like 194. Sometimes it's been 196. This time it was 200. So this one obviously has several variations, but I'm not sure why, other than it's just a different field in a different part of the map. Maybe it's farther, but it's the same distance from the watering hole, the well. So I'm not real sure, but this one's always less. This one's always 202 every single time. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to go into the load again, and we're going to look at barley. Okay, so this produced 202 wheat. So this time we're going to do barley. We'll go to 20. We don't have to worry about the millers. We'll plant, and while that's planting, I'll build a storage warehouse here for our barley. Okay, so barley field gets you 202. Okay. So I think we know what a field... So the size of this field is as far down as you can go. You know, like I maxed out the fence length in all directions to make a square. So, and it's 202 here. I'm going to guess that this one would be lower. I guess I'll load in one more just for the sake of it to see if a scarecrow makes a difference with the barley. Maybe it does. At this point, I'm guessing it's 202. But we'll give it a shot one more time. All right, one more time. Increase the yield of the fields. It doesn't seem to make a difference where you put it, so I guess we'll see. Barley, plant, and I'll build the storage as we go. Okay, so let's see what is in this one. So 202. So I think the lesson that we're learning here is that the field will always produce what it produces. Different fields can produce different amounts. The scarecrows don't accomplish anything. And I did off camera, I did test out different seasons, and different seasons seem to do the same thing every time. So it didn't seem to change the amount of yield per season. So I would say at this point, what we've learned is it consistently stays the same throughout every season on the field. The trees are consistent and stay the same. The rocks are consistent and stay the same. So as far as resources and the yield they produce, it stays pretty consistent. So if you can just add them up, it'll tell you how much you're going to get for each type. And once you build a field and see how much it produces that first time, you can pretty much guarantee that to happen unless you get a bonus or something into the game at a later date. So hope this was helpful. If you have other things you want me to try out and test out, I'm willing to do that. Just let me know what they are and I'll get them done. Thanks so much for checking the video out. Hope you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.